This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane. This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Ladies, gentlemen, everybody in between, this is the headline grabber, the 5-star superstar Murdoch, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and CastBox. Sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J. And it is a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the headline grabber, Murdoch.
Good evening, James. Good evening, Wrestling with Entertainment listeners. It is your privilege to be joined by the headline grabber, the 5-star superstar. It's me, it's Murdoch, and I'm live.
And when will be the next time the fans are privileged to see Murdoch, event-wise?
Oh, what a treat the fans will be up for. So, there's a few things in the pipeline. There's a few little cheeky shows here and there that are yet to be announced, so keep an eye on all things social media. It's at Murdoch_PW across all channels. Tell you where I can almost guarantee it's yet to be announced, but a little spoiler for you guys. I'll be making my return to Riot Cabaret in London on February the 22nd, Thursday night at the Clapham Grand. The hottest promotion in the UK, one of the biggest promotions, at least in London. It's been an incredible 18 months into 2 years with those guys. And our next show, Slammer Mia, we return on Thursday, February the 22nd. Tickets are available via the Riot Cabaret website. And you can not only see some of the finest stars in British wrestling and maybe beyond, but it's also, if this is the first time you'll have been to a show, if you're thinking, which one do I go to first? Where do I go for my first live wrestling experience? And you live in and around London, or even if you don't, guaranteed a great night out and some of the finest stars and me across British wrestling.
And where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
Oh, very kind of you to ask, James. Very, very kind of you to ask. I'm a simple man, and I'm a great believer in connecting with as many fans as possible. So my handles are consistent. Murdoch_PW across Twitter and Instagram. Murdoch Wrestle on Facebook. Limited merchandise available, but there's some new things cooking up in the pipeline. So keep an eye on my socials for that, where you'll also find a link to my Big Cartel store.
Okay, and you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and CastBox. Alright, let's get into it. You mentioned it, you work for Riot Cabaret and UBW. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
Of course I can. I might go a little bit broader as well, if that's all right, James. You've given me the floor, and I'll have a little wander over it. Many of you guys listening to this will hopefully have known my little path to get here, and some who are newer will take a little story time with Murdoch. Let's do a little bit of story time with Murdoch. Actually, I started out in an amazing venue in the Resistance Gallery as a graduate of the London School of Lucha Libre with Greg Burridge and Gary Vanderhorn back in 2017, 2018. And obviously was given first opportunities with that promotion to go away and start to gain experience. And actually I found I was really good at it, James. Those were meant to be student shows, but took to it like a duck to water. And actually, with that as the boosting point, I've been incredibly lucky to head out to Spain to wrestle for Lucha Libre Barcelona. You'll see me quite regularly at UBW and been across to Pro Wrestling East, and then of course Riot Cabaret. And Riot Cabaret has been, I think, I'm one of the early down since day one with the guys at Riot Cabaret. I was there for the first show, and I've been an ever present ever since. A wonderful, wonderful promotion run by brilliant people, tell incredible stories, and featuring Mr. Blobby, 90s TV icon in the UK. And at the same time as spending a lot of time with UBW. UBW, a brilliant promotion who run around the south of England, everywhere from Cambridge down to Stevenage kind of area for those who are in the know in the south of England. Very family friendly, some very talented wrestlers. And to be honest, I fit right in. So I've been able to lock up with their champions, with some of their finest prospects, and I've had a great time doing it.
And Riot Cabaret is arguably the most unique pro wrestling I came across. Not just in, the UK area, but arguably the world at this point.
Are they paying you for this?
No, just putting them over a little bit.
But yeah, a little bit. You've put a bucket of compliments over them, and they'd be very proud to hear that. Right, that's exactly what they're there for. And Riot Cabaret was meant to launch just the summer of 2020, and obviously the pandemic stopped their plans. And actually, what I think genuinely the break has made them incredibly stronger. They have a huge and a great vision for what they want to achieve with their promotion, and you have just seen all the viral clips and how quickly they've grown to know that that's starting to come to fruition. Incredibly well run, probably one of the most professionally run companies I've been involved with, both in terms of their approach to how they put their shows together, to booking some amazing talent, to telling great stories, matchups you'd never have seen anywhere else, all the way through to, like I said in the opener, like being able to be your best first wrestling experience. And it's a Thursday night rather than a Tuesday night. The venue is beautiful in the Clapham Grand. It's a timeless theatre in London, and they're cooking up something special, something truly special.
And when you head back to Riot, it's going to be in maybe some different context now. Considering the last show, you turned on Spike.
I'm glad you asked me about that. This will be the first time I've addressed this in public. I walked into Riot Cabaret wanting guidance, wanting to establish, and Spike took me under his wing. Spike Trevay, one of the premier wrestlers in Europe. He calls himself the most hated man in Europe. I'll call him one of the best wrestlers in Europe. And young, naive Murdoch fell in with the wrong crowd. And then over time, we've done some amazing things. We beat Charles Crowley and Joe Lando in a tag team match. We helped the Greedy Souls win tag team gold. The Vultures, the Greedy Vultures as they were dominant at Riot Cabaret for a while. But every time everything seemed to go wrong, that finger turned at me. And frankly, James, it went too far. He insulted me in front of hundreds and hundreds of fans and pushed it too far. So, enough was enough. And to be honest, I've never felt so free. I've embraced the Riot Cabaret fans. I've embraced Riot Cabaret. It's now my home, and it's my challenge to prove that I can deliver for them from here. With my little iPod that plugs straight into the speakers in venue, I'm going to take the Riot Cabaret fans on a musical journey this year.
That being said, do you often listen to Natasha Bennyfield when you wrestle?
Hey, if there's one thing I've learned from all this experience, there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure, my friend. You should never be afraid of what you like. And sometimes you've got to get pumped to Bedingfield, my friend. You should see what else is on that playlist for this year. There'll be a few things in there you will not expect.
All I'm saying is I kind of prefer Pocket Full of Sunshine.
Yeah, I get that vibe about you.
So, what are you kind of expecting, your first show back, considering that this is going to be the first time, you're not a part of the greedy vultures. You're not associated with the most hated men in the UK.
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked me, and I'm glad you phrased it that way. I will, and for what it's worth, I will forever be associated with the most hated man in the UK. I don't see this as a past I should ignore and step past. Those experiences that I had as part of the Vultures will have formed the wrestler that I am now. So it's important that I take those lessons, right? It's important that I build further. And in terms of what's coming, hey, we're stepping into the unknown, right?
Right.
This is an entirely new dawn. We're looking at suns rising. We're looking at kind of wind blowing through your hair, looking into the distance like you're Thanos sat on his planet looking over a happy universe, right? The world's at my feet here, right? And I can go away and we can create some magic together, me and the Riot Cabaret fans. The opportunities are so open. There are so many people and so many talented wrestlers to step foot in the ring with. We could be talking tag teams. We could be talking the title. Michael Oku, your time will run out eventually, and when the time is right, Murdoch in whatever guise I carry on evolving into would love to step into that ring with you. The options are so wide, so wide. It's so exciting, and the only thing I can guarantee for those fans who'll be buying tickets and attending that show is that we'll tell some incredible stories for you.
Hell yeah. Another chapter of that story involves the Greedy Souls, Brendan White and Danny Jones. There was your most, I would say, usual associated, but I don't think you've had interaction since the turn on Spike. So what's your relationship with them now?
Do you know what, James? A moment for the Greedy Souls. One of the best tag teams I think British wrestling's had in years. Whether they're running roughshod over Progress, over Rev Pro, all the things they're doing in New Wave and beyond, and beyond the UK, up around Scandinavia and across Europe, and a moment for those guys. A truly, truly once in a generation tag team for this country. And you're right, we've not interacted much since that day. There's a sense that maybe that chapter might be ending, but I say chapter rather than story, because there's every chance that the bond that we created and the position that we find ourselves in, the common ground that we've built, will come through there. And I'll tell you, those in attendance to the last show will hopefully agree with me. We look damn good as a trio. Damn good as a trio. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's more to come from the three of us.
Okay. Now, you mentioned it. You competed in Spain recently. Can you tell us about that experience?
Of course. Twice I've been out to Barcelona. In fact, Murdoch made his first appearance at Lucha Libre Barcelona's opening show back in 2019. In fact, wrestling historians, I know you're all absolute nerds out there, will know that I hold the first ever pinfall in that promotion. And me and Lucha Libre Barcelona, we go way back that far, even beyond. Jeffrey, El Jefe, de Lucha Libre Barcelona, also came through the London School of Lucha Libre while he was in the UK. Took his skills they learned from Greg Burridge and Gary Vanderhorn back to Spain. And we've been privileged to be part of their storytelling since then. And that promotion and that school and the talent that comes through there, the Barcelona Blacklist, an incredibly talented young faction. Loads of exciting talent coming through there. Are going to grow just as fast as everybody else. Not only are they making waves across Spain, they've had loads of people from the UK come over. They're partnering with Rev Pro for a show out in Spain as well. They've grown so quickly. That's incredibly exciting because not only is Barcelona an incredible city, but the fans in Barcelona are incredible wrestling fans. The wrestlers are incredibly talented. And the coaching that they get from Jeffrey and Coach Marias and the guys who are out there will set that up for the next generation of Spanish wrestlers. And that, to me, is the most exciting thing.
Did you kind of see a difference in style working, a different country like Spain rather than UK?
Maybe a little. And look, it would be reductive of me to say, well, it's Spain, it's Lucha Libre, that's how it works. It's going to be slightly different. But actually, that you could tell just from the first time I walked into the school, the family environment, the respect, the passion that those students have for pro wrestling is the place that I've been that's reminded me the most of the first time I walked into the Resistance Gallery to train at the London School of Lucha Libre. And while the style isn't vastly different, mixing a Lucha Libre with some British sensibilities that Jeffrey will have learnt in the UK to Marias, who's been wrestling for longer than probably I've been alive, and still teaching people every week, is the closest I've experienced to that mentality. So yeah, cool. There might be tweaks in style, but my God, it felt like home.
And I do have to ask, Spain, a new country that you've visited for pro wrestling. What are you eating in Spain?
What am I eating?
Yes.
I mean, nothing but the finest. There's some incredible seafood, some wonderful rooftop bars. You have to go there and you have to enjoy yourself. You have to live the high life, right?
Okay.
The headline grabber, when the headline grabber is called upon, this isn't a man who goes to Domino's and picks up his 7-Eleven snacks. We're talking seafood and the sunset. We're talking good wine, beautiful vistas. And you know what? The wrestling's just part of the package.
Hey, sometimes you could pick up quality items at 7-Eleven.
Says more about you than it does about me, James. I think that says more about you than it does about me.
Well, speaking of experiences, you were in the ring with Stone Cold, a Spice Girl, Team Rocket, and Mr. Blobby.
Discuss, right? Yeah, in another universe, it's the best team up it's the biggest crossover event since the Avengers. I was privileged to be in the ring with all of those people. It's also the first time. I mean, I need to have a word with Session Moth. We have some real making up to do. So who do we have? We had Stone Cold Simon Miller.
Yep.
We had Session Moth Martina as one of the Spice Girls. We had Charles Crowley and Alexis Falcon as Team Rocket. We had Mr. Blobby as Mr. Blobby. We had Danny Black coming straight out of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Darice coming straight out of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was an incredibly talented group, all paying homage to the finest people from the 1990s. And in another world, that's a hell of a team up. What actually happened in there? Well, I got battered with beer cans and stunned by Stone Cold Simon Miller, and then Session Moth from then. And she's hit me with kendo sticks. She's hit me with suitcases. She's battered me around that venue more times than anybody else. I think there's a little bit of a handshake needs to happen. I'll split a Guinness with her, and I'm sure it'll be good.
I mean, Simon Miller, obviously a well-known name. What was it like being in the ring with Simon?
It's just like everybody else, right? When you step in the ring for one reason. It's to pick up your cash for winning and go home and eat slightly better than everybody else. So cool, Simon's got a great profile. The man's an internet sensation. Like I remember just like not really paying that stuff the respect it deserved until I saw him surrounded by a sea of fans around Wembley for All In London this last year. But when he steps in the ring, he's not Simon Miller, the personality, right? He's Simon Miller, the fighter. He's Simon Miller, the wrestler. He's Simon Miller, the opponent.
Right.
And he's someone that I have to beat to win. Cool, he's big and he's strong and he stands out so much against the majority of wrestlers in the UK, right? His build is huge. He's got a great look. He's incredibly strong and powerful. He can hit a mean old stunner. I'll give him that. But ultimately, I see Simon Miller as not quite a stepping stone. That implies I'm stepping past him. Well, not at all. But he's just Simon. He's just another opponent. It's really important that that's the mindset that you're in. The moment they become the personality and you're overawed by their profile and the size and the shape of them, you're defeating yourself, right? And do you know what, James? This is the thing about Simon Miller. I reckon he loves Bedingfield almost as much as I do. He gives you this big old, like, I'll just listen to Disturbed, I'll listen to, I'll put Papa Roach on or Limp Bizkit and just stomp around like the man in his 30s that he is. I bet he loves Paolo Nutini. I bet he loves Keane. I bet he loves all those singer-songwriters from the mid-2000s. And he probably, wanders down to the gym, benches more weight than anybody else can lift, but he'll have that in his headphones.
I couldn't agree more.
Simon, if you listen to this, gotcha.
Now you mentioned a handshake might be in order for session smart. Is a handshake in order for Skye O Shure? Because you've had quite the up and down relationship.
Yeah, it's a good one. Skye. If you're listening to this, and I hope you do, this is the finest podcast that's called Wrestling with Entertainment, available on the internet. If you're listening to this, our story's not over yet. We've bounced around everywhere from training at the Resistance Gallery, where we helped you take your first steps into wrestling, through to seeing you develop with all the skills that you picked up from there and under Car Noir and the team at Playfight. I've seen you develop into one of the most popular wrestlers in the scene. Fight and Flight, an incredible tag team facing Sunshine Machine at Pro Wrestling East next show, which is an incredible coming of age and a coming out party for Fight and Flight. And we've danced along the way, right? Cool, I cost you the Rumble. Cool, you got your revenge at Riot Cabaret. Yeah, thanks to Joe Lando's little distraction at the end of his return. And you in a 6-person tag with Bo Bells and with Gambit, beat the Odyssey and myself at Pro Wrestling East. I feel like this is one of those stories that's got many more chapters to be written. Will that end in a handshake? Am I going to shake their hand next time I see them? Probably not. Might it end with a handshake? Who knows?
Okay. Now, can you tell us about your love of the low blow?
That's a catchy slogan. I might get that on a t-shirt. Thank you for that. Look, to take you back to where we were talking about Simon, right? And Simon, the opponent, and making sure that I walk out of the ring, my hand raised, and I get to enjoy the spoils of victory. You've got to do what you got to do to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
For what it's worth, I have never been disqualified. I have never been counted out. And no referee has ever called me for hitting my opponent low. Have I used it when possible? Of course, it's an effective way of winning. Have you ever been kicked in the jewels, James?
No, I have not, and I don't want to find out either.
Well, just know that it's as painful as anything else, and my God, would you lie down for 3 after that? I'm not going to do it to you. It's not a threat. It's just a fact of life. And look, you don't have to be extravagant. You don't have to be flippy. You don't have to be technical. You just need to win, right?
Right.
Sometimes that's the easiest way of getting there.
All right. Now, another interesting person you've shared a ring with is Jerry Bakewell from Britain's Got Talent. What was that like?
Jerry Bakewell is a truly, truly wonderful human being. He won't like me saying that, and he'll be twizzling his moustache, feeling quite uncomfortable someone's being nice to him. But not only is he one of the best compares and best MCs in the game, anyone who's been to some recent Progress shows will see how he's adapted his style there. Not only is he a household name from Britain's Got Talent, he's also a bloody good wrestler as well. Great. Throws the best punch in wrestling. I've seen him take people's teeth out. brilliant. It looks lovely. It's a great punch. I don't want to be a hit with it, but I'm jealous of it. And do you know what? Jerry's a fantastic success for being, you won't like this either, for truly being yourself. He's been unapologetically Jerry Bakewell since day one. I think he popped out of Papa Bakewell with that little twizzly tash, and he's just grown and grown and grown and grown in every way. And do you know what? He's great to be around. He's a funny man. He's a great wrestler. And I think anyone listening to this who's there going, oh, but what if this is a bit weird? Or what if I just want to do this? Like, no, be like Jerry. Be outlandish. Find yourself. Find your voice. Find the stuff that's truly uniquely you. And that'll send you far further than copying and pasting anything else.
Okay. I think that's a good time to segue to our next segment, and that is Murdoch's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
My favourite road story, which must have been closer to wacky races than any other experience I've had.
Okay.
5 luchadors in a car driving all the way from London to Kendall Calling Festival 2020. 2019. So Lucha Britannia were booked to perform at Kendall Calling, and you went just when you think you've seen it all, you see 5 luchadors almost in full gear driving the length of the motorways to try and make the show on time. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We got people. The playlist was strong. No Bedingfield, unfortunately. I wasn't in control. But that's one of those situations where you catch yourself and you kind of go, what a ridiculous world we live in. What a ridiculous world we live in. Where people who share the same passion with the outlandish characters, the lucha libre sensibilities, will make that drive. The other thing that springs to mind, not quite a road story, but having a day with Sunshine Machine and Maya Matthews in Barcelona. Not quite on the road, but was one of those stories from outside the ring that takes it there and brings people from different backgrounds who would never have crossed over the same way had we not been on the same show and that same opportunity out there. It's a great way of bonding. It's a great experience to be part of, and you learn and you develop as much, if not more, by spending time with your hopefully colleagues, sometimes even opponents, on the road where you can.
All right. Now, can you tell us about your participation in Cryptic Chaos?
Yes, I'd love to. You've done some research here, pal. I'll give you that.
Yes, I
You must have scrolled quite a long way through that Instagram feed of mine. Cryptic Chaos is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And for what it's worth, a variant of Murdoch was there at Cryptic Chaos. A branch from the sacred timeline, for lack of a better phrase. And Cryptic Chaos is a part of Restival, brilliant twice a year event. Takes place at the Pleasance Theatre near Caledonian Road in central London, not far from King's Cross. And it was an incredible event, entirely designed to showcase different elements of professional wrestling. Fist Club performed there. There was a Roy Johnson's Everything Patterned have a show. Wrestling with History is a new addition to that, bringing together all different corners of our mad world we call professional wrestling. And Cryptic Chaos was an opportunity for mad variant creatures where Bigfoot was involved, and the giant squid all battle for supremacy and who was the most powerful creature. The Owl Man of Cornwall made his appearance that evening, and it was a truly, truly wonderful thing. Entirely there for the younger wrestling fans to believe in those characters. And I'd like to shout out the curator and creator within that is Heather Bannenberg, Lorana Verdenosa. Please buy her book. It's a wonderful book. Who curates those shows, puts together that event, and does it for the love of wrestling, but also to showcase performers and their skills She has given more opportunities to people than nearly anybody I've met in the last couple of years. Whether that's newer people, people who weren't being booked in the same place, but the opportunity to push people out of their comfort zone to go and try new things and really work on their own craft. Heather is a wonderful, wonderful human. The next festival when that's announced and scheduled, I implore everybody listening to this who can to come and join us for 1 show, 2 show, 3 show, 4 shows over that weekend. I guarantee you'll have a great time.
It sounds like a great outlet for pro wrestling in a new way.
Very much so. We're as wrestlers, you're perceived a certain way, right?
Right.
I'm wrestling with my own identity in different places. Like I'm booed out of the building at UBW, but hopefully I'll be greeted with warmth by the Riot Cabaret fans, right? These universes don't coalesce. People have strong opinions, and people have their judgments of you as a wrestler and the way you do your business, and you have to evolve. It's really important that we are pushed out of our comfort zone too. It's really important that we experiment, we try different things, we're able to tell different stories. If you just tell versions of the same story for 10 years, 15 years, cool, you'd be really good at telling that story. But what if you're then asked to do something completely different? Restival gives, and projects like Restival give all of us who are lucky enough to be involved the chance to be free and be different and to try creative, new and different things. And I kind of, like I say, if you're in wrestling, I encourage you to explore, to step outside your comfort zone, to break the formula that you think you have. Push yourself in different ways. Don't be scared to laugh at yourself if you need to. Don't be scared to explore new areas for your personality and for your character. Take little bits of each of the experiences you have and become the best wrestler you can be.
Okay. Now, can you tell us about your love of classic movies?
Doesn't everyone love a classic movie?
Unfortunately, not everybody.
Yeah. Hey, that's an iteration of Murdoch that's gone a long way back. The film noir influenced 1950s film loving black and white movie, Philip Marlowe worshipping character. Some of the finest stories that we've been told were told in that era, whether that's down on their luck detectives dealing with unfortunate situations, all the way through to the finest romances of cinema history. At risk of continuing my previous train of thought, it's vital that we are, you're influenced by different forms of art, right?
Right.
It's really important that you don't just become. If you watch The Expendables 100 times, you'll know The Expendables inside out. But it's really important that you bring different elements of different areas of art, whether that's film or music or theatre and contemporary performance, different areas to find new influence from, find what resonates with you and add that to your personality. And I found a deep love of those classic movies and still do. Like music, and as you will now know from my recent evolutions and cinema and print media and reading, all things that are featured in the journey I've had as a wrestler. It's been an enjoyable, broad experience and being able to take influence from all those different places. Go and watch some Alfred Hitchcock. Go and watch some downtrodden detective stories from the 50s. Enjoy it. Try new things. I guarantee there'll be things that you'll take away straight away.
Oh yeah, I think everybody needs to see Psycho at least once.
Yeah, 100%. Go and watch The Birds as well. The Birds is great.
And then go watch the Mel Brooks version of it.
Yeah, if you really want a treat, right?
Speaking of classic movies, can you tell us about your love of Jurassic Park?
Is it not the best movie ever? I tell you what, anyone listening to this who doesn't think Jurassic Park is one of the best movies ever, message me and we'll fight about it. I objectively one of the best movies ever. Whether that's the way that the storytelling was done, the special effects from the 90s, like it captured me as a kid. I still go back to it even then. Incredible musical score. Yeah. What's your favourite movie, James?
Oh, you're just putting me on the spot now.
No, you don't like it when it works the other way, do you? Yeah.
Going on a more classical route, Mel Brooks's 12 Shows is a favorite.
Wrong. Jurassic Park. Well done.
What?
The correct answer is Jurassic Park. I'll give you a chance to correct it, but that's fine.
Jurassic Park.
Thank you.
There you go. Do you how do you feel about the Jurassic World movies compared to the Jurassic Park movies?
How do I feel? As long as it makes you feel, that's the most important thing. Like, there'll be points in those movies that still capture your imagination and take you back to the experience you first had when you watched the first ones. For me, there are points where, like, yeah, cool, there may not be the cinematic tour de force that the first movie is, but if something makes you feel, it's important. And I think of, like, the number of people that will be going to the cinema as a kid or seeing that kind of stuff for the first time, and that's one of their first formative experiences of watching movies. Fair play. I'm really glad that they've had a Jurassic Park, a Jurassic World to immerse themselves into. Like I said earlier when we were talking music, I don't believe there's any such thing as a guilty pleasure. People should be comfortable liking what they like, and that should apply to movie. I don't think you shouldn't sniff at people's taste in music, in films, and if they love wrestling. Like, anyone who listens to this will love wrestling, and at some point will have been picked on for loving wrestling, probably. Right. You should be proud of that. If there's something you're passionate about and it inspires you and it helps you make good decisions, you shouldn't feel guilty about liking it. So those people, to answer your question directly, those people, yeah, cool. The films aren't the same, but those people who are enjoying it and it makes them feel, whether that's nostalgia or excitement or passion for something relatively new, more power to you. I mean, go and enjoy that.
Now, speaking of music and sports, you've actually been on my side of the table, and you've actually interviewed stars from sports and music. Can you tell us about that experience?
I would love to, because it's something that I've not been able to display too much in recent years across British wrestling. As well as being an incredibly talented wrestler, an incredibly talented performer, an incredibly charismatic human. I've spent the better part of a decade the other side of the microphone, whether that's on radio, whether that's been on... I've interviewed everyone from the biggest stars in rock and heavy metal all the way through to some of the most famous sports people on the planet. Who would be there? The American listeners, A-Rod came to London a few years back, and I had the privilege of interviewing. Well, I say I had the privilege of him. He had the privilege of being interviewed by me. Music lovers will know, loud, angry music lovers. We've got everyone from Altered Bridge to Kasabian to Skindred to who else do we have? Chino Moreno from the Deftones. And every other rock and metal band visiting Nottingham when I lived there at the time. I've interviewed footballers and rugby players and cricketers, and it's something I'm keen to explore further in wrestling now. Right? We're all storytellers in our own way, and sometimes the platform should be there for me to help other people tell theirs.
Was there anybody that you maybe fanboyed out for? Like, oh my god, I'm interviewing this person?
Genuinely, not really. If you're a professional, you should enjoy it as much as you can, and there'll be points where you're like, pinch me, I'm in this situation where I didn't expect to be. You've got to be a professional, right? My favourite one was Benji Webb from Skindred. So Skindred, if you don't know Skindred, are a wonderful rock band from the UK. Perennial underdogs, one of the most best kept secrets. Although they're playing Wembley Arena in March, so we'll be there for that. And I think I must have caught him on a really bad day, or had really bad questions prepared for him. And it was clearly a run of interviews that was going on for a while. However, it yielded one of the best stories that I was able to tell from him, which was how passionate he is about Sleaford Mods, who are a punk outfit from the East Midlands, from the Nottingham area. And that's the kind of thing that if he'd not been in that mood, and if he'd not been right place, right time, right outlet, that then became front page of the paper news, right? The rock band visiting the city, their favourite band is one of the local ones, is incredible. And actually one of those weird situations where the stars align a little bit. You think you might have caught on a bad day, and actually you get a front page.
Hell yeah. Now, can you see yourself maybe starting interviewing people again, maybe in the wrestling world now that, you've been a part of it? Or are you too busy, making headlines now?
The answer is both, right? The answer has to be both. My wrestling inspiration, the person I look to for the career that they have and had and continue to excel in, is not John Cena, it's not Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's not Kazuchika Okada. Rocky Romero is a name I'll throw this one, because he's one of those people that no matter what he's asked to do on a show, he does it brilliantly. He can run rings around the best wrestlers in the world in the ring. He can sit on a commentary desk and tell great stories that way. With Roppongi 3K, RIP, he brought through two of the finest talented wrestlers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he's able to manage them and help curate their career. He's training people in the States. He's in Mexico doing some incredible Lucha Libre stuff. I think it's important that we pick up as many skills as wrestlers as we can while we do this, right? Like this is a dangerous game to play. And every time you step into the ring, you go in there knowing that it could be the last time. So it's important that you pick up as many skills and offer as much value to as many shows as possible, knowing that your career should be more than just matches. And if I can look back in 2, 5, 10 years' time and know that I've achieved those things as much as a really great catalogue of matches I'm really proud of, which of course is the main priority, that to me is the inspiration. That to me is what we as performers should aspire to be. So to answer your question straight, yes, I'd love to. Any promoters listening to this, I challenge you, put a microphone in my hand, send me backstage, put me on commentary. Hell, I'll host your shows for you. Let me flex those muscles for you and your fans. I guarantee I'll help your wrestlers tell stories. I'll help your fans have the best time they can have at your shows. And it adds even more to the business.
I'm sure Bradshaw would love to have you on commentary with him.
Right, Bradshaw. I knew this was coming. I knew it. I bloody knew it. We've done 45 minutes. And I was just waiting there on my little checklist of stuff that I thought James would say to annoy me. I knew Bradshaw would be involved. Now listen here, Bradshaw. We need to go for a pint. We should do some karaoke, because I bet you're a Bedingfield boy as well. Because we got off on the wrong foot, and you've been really rude to me this last 18 months. At least in public. Every other day, you're really rude to me on commentary. You're rude to me on the internet, but you're the first person in my DMs. You're the first one asking me to go for a beer with you. Just want to hang out, want to be seen with Murdoch. Just stop talking like it's a guilty pleasure. We should like what we like, and you clearly really like me. Let's go hang out. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You've not got this persona to hold up anymore. Stop being rude. Let's have a little cuddle. Let's have a beer. Let's sing Bedingfield together and have the best time.
Sure, he was contractually obligated to wear your shirt, but he seemed like he really liked wearing it.
He was contractually obliged to wear my shirt. Didn't stop him buying it. Didn't stop him wearing it well, he was contractualized to wear it once. He wears it every week. He actually messaged me and said that's what the t-shirt he sleeps in. He loves it so much. He's also the only person who's had to have a triple XL because that's a large man. If you ever met Dave Bradshaw, he is a giant.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's about 6'8". He's huge. I had to get that t-shirt specially printed for Bradshaw, and I was very lucky that he put his own words on the back of that, and he called me a consummate professional, and I completely agree.
And I can't agree more.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James.
And real quick, going back to Rocky Romero, I've had the pleasure of meeting Rocky Romero, and a constant professional he is as well. One of the more memorable people I've had the pleasure of meeting.
Love to hear that. I'm so glad you said that and that you didn't say he was actually a terrible human, because that would have broken my little heart.
No, he was genuinely a good human being. I've met him a couple of times, and he was awesome every time.
Good. I'm glad. Well done, Rocky. Well done, Rocky Romero. Who's the worst person you've ever met, James? Quick, go now. 3, 2, 1. Tell me.
Candice LeRae.
Oh no. No, there's no heat on Wrestling with Entertainment. We're not having any heat with anyone. I'm sure you just had a bad experience, and she's actually a truly lovely human being.
Let's go with that.
Move on, James. There's no burials on this podcast. We are not the Undertaker.
Yes, no. Now, can you tell us about the significance of the tattoo on the back of your arm?
I can do, actually. No one's ever asked me that before. The eagle-eyed viewers of a metal persuasion might recognise it. It's based on a band called Architects, and they're based on some of their album artwork from Lost Forever, Lost Together, an album they released midway through the 2010s. At a time when I was having a really rough time. And actually during that period, I got back into wrestling. I found that band, I found the music, and I genuinely credit that with turning a corner in my younger life. And I thought, what better way of honouring that moment and that passage through time than having it with me every day. They're still my favourite band. I see them every time they tour. I still go back to the album to listen to it all the time when I need a bit of reassurance that things need to be going okay. And it makes me proud to wear that every time I go out, not just to the ring, just it's attached to me every day, right? It's a great story. And boys, if you're listening, thank you. You might have saved a life.
That is awesome. Is there any plans for new ink in the future?
We'll get there. Not in the immediate future. I've got my focus on some other bits first. But you scratch the itch at some point. We'll get some more. Give it time. You'll have me back on next year. We'll do a full tattoo podcast.
Fair enough. All right. I think it's time for the colossal question. Let's say
no question. This better be good.
Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh, great. Love this so much. I would have Praise You by Fatboy Slim.
Okay.
I would have Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have Doomsday by Architects would be my third one.
Okay.
Fully varied. That Fatboy Slim track, I remember listening to some of the very early music I got when I was a kid. I think Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit would be the best entrance music any wrestler could ever have, and hit me up when I was a teenager and was a pivotal point in that. And Doomsday is probably Architect's best and biggest song. It's a beautiful piece of music. I think it would be a great, if you were to put 3 songs stitched across a trailer for a movie about my life, they'd be 3 of the songs you'd use.
Well, it's definitely a solid 3 picks to say the least. But I can't say I'm not disappointed Natasha Bedingfield didn't make the list.
You said that what would the first song be, and I kind of like took you a little bit further. Bedingfield is your post credits, right? You do your hard ass music. You have hard ass music all the way through, ends with a big old crescendo, and then just as the credits are rolling, you cut Marvel style to the post credit sequence. Here's Bedingfield.
Okay. Now that we got the soundtrack down, then we write the script, and then we go to casting. Who plays Murdoch? And you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
I think the person I get compared to most is Jeremy Renner in terms of look.
Okay.
So we'll go with Renner as Murdoch. And if there was to be an alternate universe, more handsome Murdoch, I know what you're thinking. Not possible. Tom Hardy, please.
Oh yeah. Alright. Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you in your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Murdoch's story would have, I think it would be, I'll talk about him more before we wrap up. My mentor, Greg Burridge, who as well as would be coordinating the stunts in all the movie, would have to play himself. I think he'd murder me as a man who's in multiple films if I recast Burridge. I would have, who's the person I've wrestled most this last year? Can't seem to escape Tommy Kyle. We've wrestled 3 times in the last year or so and mixed it up in a Rumble. And based on his absolute maverick and Top Gun nature, I think I would actually get Tom Cruise with a little beard to play Tommy Kyle.
Okay.
And then who would the third person be supporting cast? Biggest villain. Who'd be the biggest villain? Skye O Shure. You're the biggest villain. Yes, you. I would get Matt Smith, the artist formerly Doctor Who, to play Skye O Shure as the villain of this piece.
That's great casting right there. Alright.
Yeah, can't think of any person to better portray that menace.
Solid. That's definitely a solid cast of characters. You definitely have a blockbuster on your hands, and you could pre-order the tickets now. Alright, on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm good with it.
So, pro pineapple.
No such thing as a guilty pleasure. Like what you like. If you like pineapple on your pizza, you enjoy pineapple on your pizza.
But do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Electabuzz.
Okay.
Electabuzz is it's just the best. It's just the best.
Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Thug? THUG.
I do not know the acronym for Thug. THUG. Is it True Hero Under God?
No.
Ah, damn it. I've heard that somewhere. Go on.
That was a good guess, though. T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, because a Doug can't spell.
Okay.
We love the late great Tracy Smothers trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
Always.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
Yeah. Like, it's easy, right? It can't really do very much. The worst it can do is roll at you, and then when it stops, you can lie on top of it and pin it for 3. Easy.
Okay. Well, just for context, there is this wrestler named Psycho Mike that did indeed wrestle a Rock for over 15 minutes. And
it's a talented Rock.
Huh?
That's a very talented Rock.
Well, it was in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Don't you love wrestling, James?
Yes.
Don't you just love how the most ridiculous things come to life through pro wrestling?
Yes.
Like, I'm less au fait with Psycho Mike than many, but like none of that even I didn't even raise my eyebrow when you told me that story. I love that about wrestling. I love that you can watch on the same spectrum of wrestling. You can watch someone like Jordan Breaks tell amazing stories and a throwback to the World of Sport days. You could then go and watch some of the finest, some of those brutal, violent death matches in Big Japan or somewhere like that. You could then go and watch some of those athletic luchadors across the entire world. And then you could watch Psycho Mike have a tungsten match that lasts 2 weeks. It's wonderful. It's brilliant. There's no other art form. There's no other pastime. There's no other physical exertion quite like it.
And hey, if you ever find yourself in Canada, just DM Von Vertigo and he'll get you a match with The Rock.
I mean, you better. Now you've said that. You've told all of your listeners that's going to happen.
All right. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope I'm A, still wrestling. I hope I'm B, still enjoying it as much as I do, and C, I've been able to pass on some knowledge to people who are coming through. Is the honest answer. I hope we have another podcast in 5 years where I reflect on how I've had an amazing time, not only wrestling, but adding skills and adding value to the wrestling business in as many different ways as our boy Rocky Romero. And actually, I hope that I'm able to take all the great things that I've been taught by some of the most amazing wrestlers in the UK, and in Greg Burridge and Cara Noir, the two people who've been closest to my teaching, and pass on their skills, their unique outlook on wrestling, and their ways of working to a whole generation of people coming through who would benefit from the same level of experience and enjoyment that I did.
Okay. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you are all about?
I would go on the Riot Cabaret YouTube channel and go and watch the Jolly Rumble from Christmas. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We saw the human jukebox machine Murdoch in full flow. We had Elton John step into Christmas as we entered the Rumble, and it's a great statement of where we're at now. There's a match buried of I talked about branches of the Sacred Timeline earlier. There's a match buried deep in the London Lucha League YouTube channel of a very formative young Murdoch, recognised only by his arm tattoo under a lucha mask, tagging with a wonderful human called Bruno Brown, the inaugural London Lucha League tag champs against two guys you might have heard of, MALIK and CALLUM Newman, New Japan's own CALLUM Newman. And we absolutely tore the place down in the Resistance Gallery. We took each other to the limit. We had a full 15-20 minutes of chaos. And it's one of the matches I still remain so proud of, nearly 4 years later.
Oh yeah. And the Riot Cabaret match, that was from this year or last year? Well,
this last year just finished, right? So yeah. It was the Christmas show that was ran just before Christmas. Is on their YouTube channel for free, and I implore everyone to go and watch it, and anything else on there.
2023.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will definitely go into their YouTube channel and grab the link for that match and put it in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. I will sort the other match you mentioned. Hopefully I will find it.
I'll send it to you. Don't you worry. Although, in fact, no, I won't. Do you know why, James? Because you should dig through the London Lucha League YouTube channel and go and have a look at some of the amazing wrestlers, some of the amazing stories, some of the amazing matches that are on there. I guarantee you'll have a great time.
if I'm not busy enough. Well, it will, hopefully both matches will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, for anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after this interview. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Oh, here we go. I'm ready, James. Hit me with them.
This is our speed round or bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. First question. Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Excluding myself, which is a shame. I would say best wrestler of all time, Bret Hart. Not my favourite, but best, Bret Hart.
Worst wrestler.
And genuinely, no such thing. The reason I say that is that everyone is different. Everyone's style is different. Wrestling should be a variety show. Nothing should always look the same. And one person's one person's bad is another person's favourite. So I don't think there's a I've never had a least favourite. Tell you what I hated as a kid. Hated Bill Goldberg as a kid, but. Do I also think he's brilliant? Absolutely.
So you will take our default answer.
Who's your default answer?
You have chosen
Me.
Eva Marie.
That's not fair. I'm gonna say that I hated Bill Goldberg as my answer to that question. Leave Eva Marie alone.
Okay, I will accept that answer. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Greg Burridge.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Whose music always popped me all the way through? Edge.
Which one?
Coming out to Metalingus would be an absolute dream.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is
something we shouldn't talk about too much.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
It does, yes.
Squash, vegetable or fruit?
Fruit.
Yes, it is indeed a fruit.
Seeds are on the inside.
That is correct.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, did you, James? Yeah, smart as well as talented.
New Japan wrestler Tai Chi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
For my enviable butt or for Tai Chi?
In general.
50-50 split.
Gotcha. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
You're very welcome. Before I go, I would like to the people I haven't mentioned as closely as I would have liked. I think if anyone's listening to this and they want to get into wrestling, come train with Greg Burridge. He's a man who's taken more people from offices and turned them into amazing performers than anybody else. He's obviously responsible for not only Will Ospreay but CALLUM Newman more recently as well. So thoroughly recommend training with Greg. Cara Noir and the team at Playfight in London as well. Incredible group of people. Very much responsible for the performer that I am and many others are also too. And if you're listening to this and you are trying to explore more of those people, look for the people coming through those schools. look for the talent coming out of the schools, not only in London but everywhere. And if you're booking shows, please don't just book the same 15 people you've been booking for the last 5 years. Kind of go broader, find some of the exciting new talent. There's more in the UK than there's ever been before, from many different places, and I implore you to open your eyes to that.
I could definitely say the UK is popping off some great shows as of the last year or so.
Very much so.
And once again, where can we find all things Murdoch on social media and your merchandise?
Yeah, everything. Come find me, Murdoch_PW on Instagram and Twitter. Links to everything else will be found in there. And yeah, like I say, I'm a simple man. And come catch us at Riot Cabaret, come catch us at UBW, come catch us at everywhere else you'll see me across this year. And if there's any way you'd like to see the headline grabber, you'd like to see the human jukebox machine, you know where I am. Okay, and merchandise? There's a link to my big cartel in across my social media, so just have a little look in there or DM me if you like anything specific. Okay, and you don't even have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt. And if it's not mine, buy one of someone like another wrestler. Like, support wrestlers everywhere. It's important that people get the chance to get the support they want to pursue the thing they love. So it doesn't have to be me. Go support your local wrestlers. And of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Chris Farrow, and join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Instagram, and Thread for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, Murdoch, when I say Wrestling With, you say entertainment, okay? Shoot, my friend. For our very special guest, Murdoch, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling With Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling With Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.